The message that she is getting right now from little Mike Johnson and Donald Trump, it's just devastating. And the message is this: Republicans, who for the past 50 years have been the main force to push back hard on communism, they've surrendered to the communists. They've surrendered. Mike Johnson surrendered to the communists, to the ex-communists, to the wannabe communists. Mike Johnson surrendered. Donald Trump surrendered a long time ago to Vladimir Putin. Surrendered to Xi a long time ago. He has nothing but praise for Xi, for Kim Jong-un, these communist leaders, Mika. And that is a message that Xi is receiving loud and clear, that it's not just Donald Trump now. It is the Republican Party. Once the bulwark against communist aggression, it is the Republican Party, Ronald Reagan's old party, that is now collapsed.
It's completely gone, and this is a terrifying inflection point.
It is.
And for anybody who doesn't take it seriously or think the election doesn't matter or says, oh, he's not serious, you're out of your mind at this point. No. You have to look at what's happening. You also, I mean, if you read the judge's judgment in the civil fraud trial, it talks about Trump's behavior not just being bad, not just being impossible to stop, being pathological. And so you have to ask the question, what is going on here? He's absolutely doing something for himself or for Putin. It is the opposite of patriotism and opposite of dedication to this country.
All right, guys, so in continuation of Trump's fantastic town hall with Fox News last night, we got to talk about some foreign policy because, like you guys saw at the beginning of this video, the mainstream liberal media is melting down over the fact that Trump is refusing to commit to sending more taxpayer dollars to Ukraine to help fund the war against Russia. Now, again, the media is losing their mind. They are accusing Trump of siding with communists, of basically betraying America, even though he's not betraying America. That's not our war. That's Ukraine's war and Russia's war. But apparently not sending money to Ukraine, who's not even a NATO ally, is a betrayal of America because, you know, you can't continue to stick it to Putin by trying to wear down his army using taxpayer dollars and Ukrainian lives, right? Because that's essentially what they're trying to do, okay? They are quite literally sacrificing the lives of Ukrainians with taxpayer dollars to wear down Putin's army, his military, which, you know, hey, I mean, if the war continues on long enough, I mean, does anybody really believe that Ukraine is going to take back Crimea and those other provinces that are under dispute? I'm just saying, I mean, who knows? But regardless, Trump is saying, look, I'm not going to commit to sending more money, taxpayer dollars to Ukraine. And again, the mainstream liberal media, they can't stand it. They're boohoo-whining and crying, just like they've been boohoo-whining and crying about Trump's comments when it comes to NATO and how NATO's not pulling their weight, okay? They're just boohoo-whining and crying about anything having to do with Trump. I mean, they're coming up with brand new conspiracies every single day in regards to the Republicans or Trump's connection to Russia and Putin. I mean, the latest conspiracy, pretty wild, that apparently the investigation into Joe Biden that is led by Republicans in the House apparently is coming from Russia. Take a look.
Not only is there no evidence of any wrongdoing by President Biden, but it now appears as if the House Republican majority is being used by Russia to interfere in the 2024 election on behalf of Donald Trump. If they continue with this investigation, they are simply doing the work of Vladimir Putin to help Donald Trump win an election in November. That's where we are.
Yeah, so I love how the mainstream liberal media and the Democrats keep peddling this debunked talking point that somehow, some way, Trump is Putin's preferred candidate, even though Putin has come out here and said himself that, yeah, I would much rather have Biden win because Trump is unpredictable, okay, when it comes to foreign policy. He's shown that when he was president. That's why we didn't have any new wars under him. That's why Putin didn't invade any new countries under Trump, even though he decided to invade a new country under Bush, Obama, and Biden, right? But under Trump, right, for whatever reason, he backed off, okay? I'm just saying. Also, we got information this week confirming the conspiracy theory, aka the delayed fact that Trump's campaign was spied on. And during this bombshell revelation, we also learned that not only was the Russia collusion made up by Democrats and Obama, but Putin actually preferred Hillary, right? He preferred Hillary to win in 2016 because, once again, Trump is unpredictable, right? So, again, this is all the stuff that the mainstream liberal media is peddling, okay? And they're coming up with new conspiracies that are actually really old conspiracies, right? They're trying to say that, Russia's colluding with Republicans or Trump in order to try to affect the outcome of the 2024 election because, Putin loves Trump or Trump loves Putin. This is what they're doing, right? So Trump is going to get asked directly about his foreign policy when it comes to giving more aid to Ukraine. And Trump's going to take the opportunity to address kind of all these issues and these conspiracies that the mainstream liberal media has been putting out there about him and his foreign policy, particularly when it comes to this issue of Ukraine and Russia. And I think that Trump gives the perfect answer, the perfect response to this question. And I think that he kind of goes into details about things and addresses certain issues that he definitely should address. So without further ado, let's get into it.
How you doing, Mr. President?
Hi, Kelly.
One of the many great things you did in your first term was put America first. One of the many great things you did. That isn't the case in the last few years, which is evident with the unnecessary billions of dollars in foreign aid we have given specifically to Ukraine. So what is going to be the solution to fix all of that spending?
Thank you very much, Kelly. Appreciate it. I like that question. I like this guy. I can tell. But he's a man of common sense. I'm a man of common sense. They say you're conservative, you're liberal, you're this, you're that. No, we're people of common sense. We need borders. We don't want to give foreign aid to countries that hate us. I mean, we're giving foreign aid to countries that hate us. If you look at the numbers in terms of the billions and even trillions of dollars that we give to foreign aid, and yet we don't protect our own border. We don't protect our own military. We have the greatest, I knocked out ISIS. Everyone said it would take 4 years. It took me 3 months to knock out, totally decimate ISIS. We took out Soleimani. We took out al-Baghdadi. We did a job like nobody's ever done.
So you wouldn't be in favor of giving $60 billion more for Ukraine? Because they said without that money, Ukraine will definitely lose the war, which would then empower Vladimir Putin and endanger our allies.
And I guess the thing that bothers me most, it would have never happened if I were president.
Oh, it did.
Facts. Facts. It would have never happened. But see, the reality now is that it is happening. So it is important to know, kind of what Trump's thought process is, because it could very well be the case. In fact, it will definitely probably be the case that the war will still be going on when he takes office early next year. So it's going to be important to see what Trump is going to do in order to address the issue, right? I personally don't even know if it's an issue that we should be addressing per se. But, if we have a role in trying to negotiate peace, then I think that Trump is the man to do it, okay? Because we know that Putin, I think that he's actually afraid of Trump, right? And I think that's part of the reason why Putin did not invade Ukraine under Trump. This is why I think that Putin was at bay under Trump, despite the narrative from the mainstream liberal media, is because I think Putin knows that Trump is more alpha to him. That's a very simplistic way of putting it, but I'm pretty sure that's the case, okay? Has anybody seen Trump's body language when it comes to him hanging around Putin, right, and shaking Putin's hand? Trump clearly exerts dominance over Putin when they interact.
Already this morning, our first look at the first greeting between President Trump and President Putin, posted online by the German government. A handshake and pat on the back. The quick interaction before a more substantive one later today, a private meeting between the leaders.
Yeah, that little tug and pull handshake along with the pat on the back, that is Trump exhibiting a sign of dominance. That is him letting Putin know that, hey, we might actually nuke you. And I'm also kind of crazy, right? Don't F with me, okay? I'm the top dog in the room. Just understand, okay? I'm pretty sure that Putin gets the message, right? And I'm not making this up. I'm not BSing. I really do believe that's part of the reason why Putin is just like, nah, I'm just going to wait right, if Trump leaves office. Okay. And with that being said, I wouldn't be surprised if Russia interfered in 2020 on behalf of Biden. right? Because, I mean, obviously he wanted to invade Ukraine. So I would actually not be surprised if the real evidence comes out in the future that, oh, no, actually, Putin interfered, not for Trump. Putin actually was interfering trying to get Biden elected, right? He was working against Trump actively. Wouldn't be surprised if that's the real truth of the matter.
So what are you going to do about it?
But it would have never happened. Putin would have never done it for two reasons. Number one, I said, don't do it. He would never have done it. And the other reason was oil prices were low. At $40 a barrel, it doesn't work.
What would you
At $100 a barrel, he made a fortune during this war.
And this is also a great point that Trump made. This is why I love this town hall, because Putin, right, in Russia, they're making more money than ever before, literally because of not only the war, but the sanctions that the West has levied against Russia in response to the war has actually helped Russia get richer. Again, their GDP is growing, and part of the reason why is because they're now selling oil to their newfound customer, India, who is buying it at a discounted price from Russia due to elevated oil prices as a result of the West refusing to buy Russian oil. And because of that, Russia has to find new partners to sell oil to, and they have to sell it at a discount, which has benefited them. And India has not only been buying it up, but through India buying it up, Russian crude oil is still finding a way into the U.S. market and the West, despite the sanctions. Take a look.
Russia is richer than ever before. Last year's budget was $320 billion. About a third of which spent on its invasion of Ukraine. Sanctions were meant to dent oil paying for war, but instead, India has stepped in and is now buying 13 times more Russian crude oil than before the war. Worth $37 billion last year, says one estimate exclusively given to CNN. India buying Russian crude isn't sanctioned, but is buying so much, Russia might need to dodge some sanctions to ship it all. We asked an artificial intelligence firm, Winwood, to analyse all global shipping last year for direct shipments between Russia and India, and they found a huge 588. A separate analysis by Polestar Global for CNN revealed over 200 other ships that left Russia last year and did a ship-to-ship transfer off the Greek coast to another boat that then went on to India.
Ship-to-ship transfers are done legally, but they're also used as an illicit tactic to evade sanctions, to sort of try and confuse the authorities as to where this oil is coming from and who's buying it at the end of the day.
India says these shipments fuel its economy without raising global prices by competing with the West for Middle Eastern oil. But there's a complication for the West here, as India refines the oil and sells those products on. And the biggest buyer of products from Russian crude last year, according to exclusive new data obtained by CNN, the United States, over $1 billion worth from India. Way more if you add what US allies, also imposing sanctions on Russia, also import.
So we've seen an increase in 2023 of 44% of oil products that are being made from Russian crude oil flowing into those countries that impose sanctions on Russia, such as the US, UK and EU.
Yeah, so once again, Trump absolutely right about how Russia is richer than ever, right? Partly because of the fact that this war and the sanctions have enabled them to sell oil at a discounted price, but still an extremely high price, which for them triggers elevated demand, which allows them to make a ton of money, okay? And again, a lot of this stuff that we're doing doesn't really make any sense, and I think that that's kind of what Trump is getting at here, because, again, Trump has a business mind, so he understands this stuff. This is why, I really would prefer a businessman over a politician in the White House, especially when it comes to foreign policy and things like that.
So what I would do is, first thing I get on the phone is with the European nations who are in for 25% of what we're in. We're in for over $200 billion. They're in for $35 billion.
We spent about $100 billion so far, but it will be $160.
It's a difference of $150 billion. They've got to start paying up. It affects them much more than it affects us. We have an ocean in between us. They don't have that ocean in between. They have to start paying up. And you know why they haven't paid? Because nobody asked him. Biden doesn't call. Does Biden lie awake at night, sleeping, he turns for another reason, not for the reason we're talking about, sweating, saying, we got to get more. We've got to get them to pay up because there's $150 billion difference. I feel very bad. Remember this. You're really up against a war machine in Russia. Russia, what they do? They defeated Hitler. They defeated Napoleon. You know, they're a war machine.
Yeah, exactly. They are a war machine, right? I recently talked about Russia's role in World War II and how they fight, okay? Which, you know, hey, this is why the West, okay, and NATO, they tell us, hey, we're afraid of Russia. We have to send billions and billions and billions of dollars to help Ukraine defend itself, okay? Because, you know, Putin, evil man, he might invade NATO, okay? He might actually attack a NATO ally. And if you really believe that, then, hey, why don't you start footing more the bill yourself, right? Why don't you start contributing more of your share to helping defend Ukraine since it affects you more than us? Again, because, hey, that conflict is happening over there. Russia's not pulling up to the United States and invading us, okay? It's more of a threat to you than us. So why are we pulling most of the weight when it's more of a threat to you? Doesn't make sense. So yeah, asking them to pay out more if they want to keep defending Ukraine, which, I mean, in my opinion, I think, you know, they're burning their money on fire because, you know, they're just delaying, right, what, you know, the media has acknowledged is happening, which is that, hey, Ukraine is not taking back these, you know, territories that are under dispute. So again, I'm not sure exactly what the end goal here is. I would honestly, if I was, you know, these people, I would want to come to some type of peace agreement, right? Some type of ceasefire. Let's figure it out. But that's not what they want to do.
They're a much bigger country. Orban, who I think is a fantastic guy. A lot of people don't like him because he's a little bit on the tough side. He is the prime minister of Hungary. And he said, and he came out very strongly, they asked him, what's going on? The whole world is collapsing. He said, if the United States elects Donald Trump, it'll all end. Everybody was afraid of Donald Trump. It'll all end. And I believe that's true.
Hey, Sean. It is true. It's 100% true, right? It's called a madman theory. Okay? It exists for a reason. Everybody knows that Trump was a madman. He was unpredictable. Nobody knew what he would do. And this is why the world was at relative peace under Trump. You know, compared to under, you know, Obama or Bush or, you know, Biden, because everybody knew, okay, well, we don't know what Trump's going to do, right? He might actually really use nukes against us, okay? I'm just saying, that's not a bad thing. That's a great thing. It's a great thing. And this is why we need him back in office, for reasons like this. So again, I think that Trump gave a good answer there, okay? He's not committing to giving Ukraine more money. He's saying, look, if Europe wants to continue with that, they need to pay up, right? Otherwise, you know, for us, you know, it ain't really our issue. It don't really affect us as much as it affects them. So, hey, if you want to continue to fight against Russia, then you got to pay up to do it. But according to the mainstream liberal media, that is putting America last, right? Actually putting Americans first and saying we're not just going to go fund these wars overseas that really ain't got that much to do with us. Apparently, the media says that that's anti-American, right? That Trump is siding with communists, okay? When I think that Trump is actually just siding with the American people and just showing that, hey, we really shouldn't continue to get involved in these conflicts. And I think that that is the best part of a potential Trump presidency is hopefully he can bring back stability and relative peace to the world, especially in Eastern Europe and in the Middle East. But we'll see. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.